on News OSU, we will compare private and public schools' COVID-19 protocols and how that may affect what restroom your child uses. Later, how will a new turnpike project affect the way Norman residents view their property value? And is it time to say goodbye to masks on airplanes? We will also have the latest updates on the Russia-Ukraine war overseas. All that and more here on News OSU. Hello and welcome to News OSU. I'm Phoenix Plum and today is April 19th, 2022. We're glad you're with us. We start today with groundbreaking federal mask mandate news. U.S. District Judge Catherine Mizelle struck down the federal mask mandate for travel on Monday. Mizelle's reasoning was simple. Mizelle believes the mandate was unlawful because it exceeded the statutory authority of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and because its implementation violated administrative law. It's unclear when the mandate will take effect at airports or train stations across the country, or if the Justice Department will look to file an appeal. A week ago, the CDC extended its mask mandate through May 3rd. The mandate holds true when traveling by plane, train, or other forms of public transportation. The second phase of the Russia-Ukraine war has officially begun. Ukrainian officials are referring to the second phase of the war as Donbas. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated there are clear signs of a stepped-up Russian offense attack in a video address on Monday while urging the Ukrainian army to continue the fight.
Ситуація точно не покращується щоденно. Заблоковані наші військові, разом з ними заблоковані поранені люди. Є багато вбитих, є 200, багато людей.
In recent days, the Russians have been building up their forces for an attack on Ukraine's industrial heartland, a region that could have a major impact on the war. At least 7 people are confirmed dead in the recent Russian missile strikes. In other news, public and private schools continue to battle when it comes to COVID-19 related rules. Channing Nesmith tells us how private and public schools handled the pandemic differently.
COVID hit in 2020 and shut down schools across the nation. Public schools like this are funded by the government and have to abide by the policies that they've created for COVID, whereas private schools are funded privately and have the freedom to decide on their own COVID policy. This is how COVID has affected students across the state of Oklahoma. According to Oklahoma Education, there are 509 public school districts in the state, the largest school districts being Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and Edmond. COVID forced schools to have a virtual classroom. Dana Williams teaches 6th grade English and 8th grade leadership at Heartland Middle School. She says the hardest part about COVID was deciding on what could be done remote instead of in the classroom.
We really had to be more intentional about our class time and what was being done there. Teaching new things, of course, and then sending them home with a practice, that kind of stuff. But yeah, being more intentional with our time because we didn't have as much face time with them.
According to Oklahoma Education, public schools have an average of 17-to-1 student-teacher ratio, whereas private schools have an average of 11-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Chris Sims is the father of a student at Crossings Christian School, and he says classrooms were back to normal in August of 2020.
And then ever since then, it has really been business as usual for us. We get an email anytime somebody in that building tests positive, and we've only had 2 emails since 2020.
Private schools create their own COVID policies for the schools, such as mask mandates, social distancing, contact tracing, virtual classrooms, etc. Public schools have state guidelines to follow and uphold throughout their entire school. With classes going back to normal and COVID restrictions lifting, some students anticipate the normalcy. For News OSU, I'm Channing Nesmith.
What is it?
Thank you, Channing. We will keep you updated on the COVID-19 situation in local schools. In other local news, after hearing news of an Oklahoma Turnpike Authority project that could impact homes, community members in Norman are uniting. OTA leadership proposed a plan to build a new turnpike to lessen traffic and congestion, especially on I-35. However, hundreds of residents have expressed deep concern of their homes possibly being displaced. Standing in the way of the turnpike proposal is an estimated 600 homes. However, Noble and Norman residents said it's not just about losing property and homes to build the tollway, it's about the environment. Residents have expressed concerns about stormwater runoff from the turnpike that will affect Lake Thunderbird's watershed. This will pollute drinking water for nearly 500,000 people.
PA Cares, they call all these lives of families rooftops. They just worry about the road and the best way to get there. They don't do environmental studies. They don't care about people.
The turnpike route will also destroy rare geological rose rock formations that are only found within a 1 to 2 mile band between Stanley Draper and Lexington. The rose rock has been Oklahoma State's rock since 1967. The OTA has not performed studies on these impacts, but has said it will begin environmental impact studies once the routes are finalized by engineers. Oklahomans that want to weigh in can go to the Access Oklahoma website to comment. A 6-year gender bathroom law in schools could be in jeopardy. I visited the Stillwater Public Schools Administration to find out more. I'm here at the administration office for Stillwater Public Schools, where they are considering changing a 6-year-old policy. The Stillwater Board of Education received a letter from Secretary Ryan Walters urging for a change in the school's bathroom policies. Since 2015, the policy has allowed students to use the restroom that fits their gender identity. Secretary Walters claims that parents have approached him about their concerns and the safety of their daughters who fear biological men using the women's restroom.
This is a radical policy that is so far left. I expect it from San Francisco, but not in the state of Oklahoma. We need to make sure that all students in our schools are protected.
Superintendent for SPS, Gay Washington, states that the district has never received any reports of transgender students behaving inappropriately in the restrooms. As there are both girls' and boys' restrooms in the schools, there are gender-neutral bathrooms provided as well. Secretary Walters then demanded for the board to end its dangerous bathroom policy. The district has since then addressed the policy in a board meeting, with many speaking for the policy.
Stillwater will not continue to grow unless we are willing to be welcoming and accepting of all students and families and make room for them in our community.
And against the policy.
The problem seems to be that school officials are trying to push for their own woke beliefs to be accepted as normal by forcing our children to accept boys in the girls' space as normal.
Oklahoma's Attorney General then sent a letter to SPS that there are no legal precedents to require women restrooms be open to all. Since the board meeting, there has not been a decision on whether this policy will continue or not. This is still a developing story, and the board will meet again to discuss this policy. For News OSU, I'm Phoenix Plum. There was a wave of weekend shootings across the country as crime rates continued to rise. Stillwater Police Department responded to a shooting outside of Headliner's barbershop where Landon Offlegger was pronounced dead at the scene. There still has been no connection made between Offlegger and the murder. Officers arrested Darren Backus shortly after.
Oklahoma State has another national championship. Cowgirl Equestrian won its first national championship in program history. This makes them the first OSU women's team to win a national championship. The team defeated Fresno State and Big 12 rival TCU in the first 2 rounds. The top-ranked Cowgirls brought down number 3 Texas A&M 11-9 in the championship round. The meet came down to the final point where Sydney Ziegler beat her opponent 250.5 to 249. The win marked their 15th this season, making their best record in program history.
One team that gets to hoist that trophy at the end of the year, and what we always tell them is that the year can't be based off, the success of that year can't be based on if you hold up that trophy or not. There's so much more to it, and I think we're very fortunate that we're able to hoist that trophy, but I think that we also accomplish those other things of knowing what a team and a family truly is.
The Cowgirls made even more history this weekend as the first Big 12 team to win the national championship. Stillwater is now home to 2 championship teams after the weekend. Oklahoma State Cheer won its 2nd consecutive national title at NCAA Nationals in Daytona. This marks OSU Cheer's 8th national championship title. Oklahoma State also had a good week on the diamond. Baseball started the week with a win against Wichita State. Michael Zorales is at O'Brate Stadium to tell us how the Cowboys' bats came alive last Tuesday.
I'm here outside a windy O'Brate Stadium where the Cowboys just wrapped up an 8-5 victory over Wichita State. After the game, Coach Holliday described to us the challenge of keeping his team focused after an emotional Bedlam Series win last weekend and a lot of praise coming around the college baseball world.
Everybody's like, hey, great job, hey, picture this and tweet this and Instagram this and, all the time. But that's like 3 days ago. This is now. This is Tuesday. All that was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's like I told the boys, leave it in the past.
It's a next game mentality for Josh Holliday's Cowboys. Cowboy closer Trevor Martin got the start Tuesday after being charged with the loss in Game 1 of the Bedlam Series, where he gave up 2 runs in the 9th inning. Martin struck out 4 batters in 3 innings pitched and gave up 1 run to start the game for Oklahoma State. The only run Martin gave up was thanks to in large part the wind blowing straight out to left field. Tuesday's outing for Martin was a good confidence boost before he will more than likely return to his closing duties.
Baseball is just a game where you gotta forget. I mean, there are going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, and you got to keep coming every day.
Clinging to a 2-1 lead in the 6th inning, Cowboy DH Griffin Dorshing stepped up to the plate. Dorshing woke up the Cowboy bats with a 500 feet 2-run home run to give the Cowboys a 4-1 lead. After a 3-run 6th inning and tacking on 1 more in the 7th, Brett Brown put the game on ice with this 2-run home run to make it an 8-1 Cowboy lead. The number 5 ranked Cowboys improved to 24-9 on the season with this win. The Cowboys will have a couple days off before they play next this weekend against West Virginia in Morgantown. For News OSU, I'm Michael Zorales.
The number 3 Cowboys also won 2 of 3 games against West Virginia. The Cowboys defeated the Mountaineers on Sunday with a run rule in 8 innings. Right-hander Bryce Osmond dominated on the mound with a career-high 11 strikeouts. 3 Cowboys hit home runs in the first inning to propel them over West Virginia. The Pokes cruised through the 7th 9-1 despite the home team earning a pair of runs. 2 runs came in on a wild pitch in the 8th before Caden Brumbaugh plated the final run with a single. Justin Campbell was named Big 12 Co-Pitcher of the Week for the 2nd time this season. The Cowboys host Oral Roberts tonight at 6. Cowgirl softball dominated Big 12 play over the weekend. The Cowgirls swept Kansas to improve to 34-7 and 11-1 in the Big 12. It was a weekend of run rules as the Cowgirls beat the Jayhawks 10-2 on Sunday. 9 out of 10 Cowgirl batters logged hits in the 3rd game of the series. Consistent offense was the name of the game all weekend.
Really improved. Thought we ran the bases extremely well, like a championship team.
The Cowgirls are on the road tomorrow night in Tulsa at 5. OSU has the chance to bring home a couple more trophies this week. Men's and women's tennis head to Fort Worth, while women's golf heads to Hockley for Big 12 championships. That's all for sports. We'll see you next week.
That's all we have on this week's News OSU. Stay safe, and we will see you next week. For News OSU, I'm Phoenix Plum.